Hey guys, so yeah, I have actually planned to do this look in case you can see it. I'm not sure, but it looks like a very tough look and I'm scared. I don't know what I will do and I will probably mess up my eyes. Yeah, I'm gonna use the Pretty Rich palette by Too Faced and I'm gonna see how it goes. I can't do a smoky eye to save my life, but let's just hope it goes well. Anyway, so let's just talk about another story that I wanted to tell you. Okay, so since all of this scandal and controversy is now discussed, I want to move on to something fun. So basically I went to Bali in 2018 November, and we were just two people. I was with one friend of mine who's a girl, and we were just two girls, and that was technically my almost solo trip with somebody. And I was really scared because that was my second international trip in my life. Okay, like I've only taken like 3 international trips in my entire life, one of which was in 2017 when I went to Thailand. The second one was in 2018 when I went to Bali, and the third one was in 2019 when I went to Vietnam. All 3 was personally paid for, no parent, nothing, nobody actually sponsored me. And yeah, I earned myself and then I went abroad. I have never went abroad before 2017, and I'm kind of very happy about it that I did it all on myself. And if I can do it, so can you. Just a motivational factor. Yeah, so I went to Bali and we had like a few days planned. Okay, we were there for 7 days, but we were actually only there for 6 because our flight got really delayed, and the first day got entirely missed because we reached Bali at around 6 or 7 p.m. and all we could do was just go out to a bar or club that night and just chill. So whatever we had planned that day went to waste. Basically we had like 2 nights in Ubud, which is like the pretty massage silent nature area of Bali. We had 1 day and 1 night planned in Nusa Penida, which is like an isolated island somewhere around Bali. You have to take a ferry till there, and then we had 3 days planned in Seminyak, which is basically like the party and the clubbing area of Bali, right? So yeah, so basically we had all these 6 days planned properly. Once we were done with Ubud, we basically took a ferry to Nusa Penida, which is a ferry of about 1.5 hours away from the coast. And we took a ferry and we reached Nusa Penida, and we realized that the island is really isolated. Okay, like it is damn isolated, and there is nobody. There's literally like nobody in that island, and people don't know English. So the first person we spoke to didn't know English, our taxi driver didn't know English, our receptionist didn't know English. Everybody in Bali, like the main island of Bali, knew English, and they were very ready for tourists. But this specific island did not have anybody who was accepting and very ready for tourism, right? So they did not even know English, and you had like a proper underdeveloped area where chickens were all around, pigs were on the roads, and there was nobody. Like there were no street lights, nothing. Everything was very isolated. Okay, and there are just 2 beaches there in Nusa Penida. One is called the Diamond Beach, which is really pretty, and there is something called the Killing Beach or something like that. I can't really pronounce it. And we had to basically visit both of these beaches. Okay, so we planned to visit both of these beaches, and once we checked into our Airbnb, and our Airbnb was also really like creepy. Okay, and they had these cottages, huge cottages. We checked into our Airbnb, and the Airbnb was very like coupley. Okay, like a lot of couples were there, and it was really creepy. There were a lot of insects, chickens out there, people were weird, everything was isolated. Me and my friend kind of got really like scared and stuff. Any which way, so we decided that we anyway have to visit those 2 beaches, and we have to explore it because they were like Instagrammable. They were like so pretty on picture, and you must have seen that beach on a lot of Bali posts that I see online, and we just had to go there and get a picture clicked. Okay, we just had to. So we planned that we might as well go there, and then we asked the driver and the receptionist how much will it cost to actually go there. And since we were already like, we'd taken the ferry in the afternoon or something, and we were already pretty late, and the basically sunset happens there at approximately 6:30 or something. So the person there said that you can't really do both the beaches together, because if, for example, like this is the island, okay, so if this is where we are and this is the beach, then you can't really go from here to here straight. You have to basically go around and then come here, because the roads are not properly constructed. That is what she told us. So she's like, it'll take you like 1.5 hours to reach this beach, so you can't do the other beach. You have to like completely change the route and go to the other beach from the other side, and that'll be tomorrow, so the next morning. So we were kind of disappointed. We tried to convince them to help us cover both the beaches in the same day, but we somehow couldn't, okay. So since we couldn't, and we decided that we might as well visit the beach that was the good one and the prettier one, we basically just took the cab, and the cab driver obviously did not know English. And yeah, he took us through the roads. The roads were pretty, like, the island was obviously really pretty. There were a lot of good scenic routes, there were plants, there were trees, there were a lot of things that were worth seeing. But yeah, we took approximately 1.5 hours to reach that beach, and it was worth it. Like, I will put up a picture right here. It was so worth it, and it was one of the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life, and coming from a person who hasn't really gone to a lot of places. But yeah, it was one of the most beautiful things I have seen in my life. So we went there, we got a lot of Instagrammable pictures clicked, and we actually considered going down, but it was really scary, and we were wearing chappals, and we weren't even like wearing proper trekking clothes and shit. We were just wearing like a dress and a bikini inside. So we planned to go down, and yeah, we couldn't. And then finally, when we were there, we had Maggie, and like hilly Maggie in India. That's the kind of hilly Maggie that you have in India. We had Maggie there, we had pancakes, we ordered a lemonade and all of that. So we chilled there for a bit, we enjoyed the weather, and after a while we just decided to move back. So I was kind of disappointed in the beginning, but once I reached the Kelingkling beach, I was really happy. So when we chilled there for a bit, we decided to go back to our Airbnb and sleep the night, and then the next morning we moved to Seminyak, which is the main area of Bali. Anyway, so when we were going back, we suddenly saw the sunset, and the sunset was the prettiest effing sunset I have ever seen, guys. Like, ever. It was purple hues, completely purple, and I can't even imagine the kind of sunset that I saw in Bali I would ever see anywhere else. And it was a real life purple hues right in front of my eyes. It was straight out of a fairy tale. I actually thought I wasn't living real life. So once I saw that, we kind of got hooked on, and we didn't really want to go, and we just wanted to enjoy the sunset and wanted to chill there. So once we anyway, I'm kind of slow with the eyes because I'm really engrossed in the stories. Anyway, so yeah, we sat down and we decided that we might as well not go, right? Like, right now, just enjoy the moment, get a few more pictures clicked, enjoy the sunset, because we probably never be able to see that again. And yeah, we just sat there, and there was this cute little jhula there in the form of a tire. We sat there, we enjoyed the sunset. I'm gonna attach another picture here to make you see how it looked like, and it was unbelievable. Okay, so this is exactly where the part of my makeup gets tricky, and this is exactly where the story gets trickier. So while we are going to that beach, we realized that our taxi driver is kind of shady, because every time we told him that bro, stop here or stop there, because we wanted to just get down and enjoy the moment, he said no, and that's all he knew. He only knew the word no in English. So he just said no. Every time we asked him, bro, please stop here, we want to see how it looks, what it is, blah blah blah, he just said no. And the moment we just got down, he was kind of very helpful. He wasn't like shady, he was helpful, but he didn't know English, so we kind of scared. And you know how we're conditioned, like as Indian women, we're conditioned to just think of the words in men. So and especially men we don't know, and especially men who do not know our language. So we don't really know what's going down in his head, and what's he trying to say. So basically that is what happened. And when we finally got in the car, we started driving back to our Airbnb. Now we were in the taxi, and now there are no street lights. It's completely dark. Like, I couldn't see a single person in that entire island. Like, even if I wanted to run, there was no place that we could actually have ran to. So this happened, and we were just driving, and you know, when you're in a very weird situation, time just moves really slowly, right? So we just thought that it's been 1 hour and we had no network. Vodafone sucks, it did not give me network. Airtel, she had Airtel, she did not have any network. So we were just actually going by the, how do I tell you, the offline iPhone maps. We couldn't even open the Google Maps because we had no network. Yeah, so the person and the girl and the friend I was with was way more experienced than me in traveling than I was. So I got really panicky and I told her, bro, I am really scared, I'm paranoid. I don't know what's happening, I don't know where we're going, we don't have Google Maps, I don't even know if you're going to our Airbnb or not. So she just said relax. She just told me to relax, like completely relax and chill, nothing's happening. She was checking the maps and was going the right way and stuff. And she was also chill, and I was really, like, I was kind of shocked at the fact that she was so chill. Anyway, I don't know how my eyes look, I really don't know, I'm so engrossed in the story. So since she was really chill, I was really paranoid, and the matter got worse when the cab driver actually stopped and made another guy sit in the cab, and that is when she got really paranoid. She's like, what is happening, what is happening, what is happening? And the cab driver went like, he couldn't say anything because he didn't know English, but the guy next to him knew English. So he told us, I am his son. And we thought, चलो कुछ नहीं था, ट्यूशन से उठाएगा या फिर कहीं स्कूल से उठाएगा, जो भी है. We don't know how things work on that island, right? So then we got a little better. But you never know, like in India, if somebody at this point where there are no street lights whatsoever, nothing, no guy on the roads, nothing, suddenly just gets another guy to sit with you, you just get very paranoid, right? So we asked him, he said, I'm his son, and we were like chill then. And after like half an hour or something like that, we finally, this is the climate, reached the Airbnb, and I finally, another story, I finally like had a sigh of relief. I was really paranoid, and I was like, yes, finally, now we can survive, and now I do not want to stay on that island anymore. I just want to move to Seminyak the moment we can get a ferry tomorrow morning. And yeah, funny story is, the moment we went into the entered the Airbnb, we actually entered the wrong room, and I knocked on that door. We entered the wrong room, like there were curtains on the door, right? So I opened the curtains to actually assume. I opened the curtains actually assuming it's my room, and I saw an Australian couple. You know what I mean? So I got really embarrassed, and they started laughing, and we started laughing, and that was a funny moment, and that actually gave me a sigh of relief again, that we're around people and people are normal here. So I finally went to the room, and while we were coming to Bali, we actually picked up 2 bottles of gin on the airport, okay? And we wanted gin, we wanted like normal gin, so that we can enjoy having a drink or two in the hotel. The moment we actually bought that gin at the Malaysian airport, and we couldn't really figure out what gin it is, what flavor it is. And when I tried the gin, it was actually green apple. I was so disgusting, but I had no other way out because I had to get this incident out of my head. So I just had like 4-5 drinks of that specific green apple gin, which I hate. And that is when I got normal. I called a few friends up in Delhi, told them about it. I said I'm safe and I'm okay, and we're gonna take a ferry back 7 a.m. in the morning, and I'm fine. And that is when I actually felt better about that trip, and I felt like I was almost gonna die and something's gonna happen, but nothing happened. Yeah, so I was just telling you how these things just make you a more bold person in terms of how you actually went through something like that and came out of it unharmed. So it makes you a bold person. So since then, I've been in Delhi, and I've been really bold about driving back home and not really being scared of people, because like after such an experience, you just sort of get this confidence in you that if this can happen in a different island and a country altogether, then it can happen here. But there are obviously more saviors for you here than there were in Bali, because we were just two girls. So yeah, that is what it gave me. It gave me a sort of confidence, and that is when people say that if you travel alone, you come back as a different person completely. And I would definitely urge all of you girls to somewhere down the line in your life travel alone or with a friend, maybe a girlfriend, and not with your boy and not with your guy friends only, because uh, traveling alone or with your girlfriends give you a sort of confidence and some sort of courage to live life independently without the support of a man. So yeah, I am just happy telling you this story. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna complete my makeup in front of you right now, and then I'm gonna switch off the camera and say bye to you. In case you enjoyed the story, do subscribe to my channel, please. I'm really trying to grow my YouTube channel. And yeah, so all we're only left with contouring, highlighter, mascara, and lipstick. I'm actually using the Better Than Sex mascara. I contoured using a brown, light brown eyeshadow only, because I do not own a bronzer either, and I haven't got the time to go out and buy it for myself. So I just use a light brown or a dark brown eyeshadow to contour my cheekbones and my nose. Yeah, that's what I do. And it's one of the best mascaras I've ever used. It's the Better Than Sex mascara by Too Faced. I'm using the Joie de Vivre. I don't know how to pronounce it. Joie de Vivre lipstick by MAC. It's a mauve purple. The highlighter I'm using is also from MAC. It's the Skin Finish Sky's the Limit highlighter. It actually came in a Pia package. I'm gonna highlight the top of my cheekbones, the bridge of the nose, the eyebrow bone, and I'm just gonna set my makeup with the MAC Prep and Prime. I hope you enjoyed this YouTube video. In case you want me to do more such stories and entertain you guys while I'm getting ready, please let me know in the comments down below, and please subscribe to my channel. I love you.